Thank you all so much for joining us. We've got a lot going on the Hill today, so we're going to have members coming and going during this press conference. But we are here today to authoritatively express that President Trump did not commit an insurrection, and we believe Congress has a unique role in making that declaration. It's not the job of the states, and especially not the job of some bureaucrats in Colorado, to make this assessment and interfere with the rights of voters to cast their vote for the candidate of their choice. The very experts who often get on television and talk about securing democracy seem to be the first to want to then remove a candidate from the ballot because they are afraid that he is too popular. We have 63 co-sponsors to the resolution that Ms. Stefanik and I will be filing today to express the sense of Congress that President Trump did not commit an insurrection. I want to express my gratitude to Senator Vance for filing the companion legislation over in the Senate. And now is time for members of the House and Senate to show where they stand on this question. We and the former president welcome and expect many more co-sponsors in the coming days and look forward to a floor vote. And now I'd like to recognize my co-lead on this project, our terrific Republican Conference Chair, Elise Stefanik.
Thank you so much, Matt Geatz. The American people are smart. They know that the weaponized attacks of radical far-left prosecutors and Joe Biden's Department of Justice against President Donald Trump are nothing more than a targeted political witch hunt used to further their own extreme far-left political agenda and hijack the will of the American people come Election Day. As President Donald Trump continues to dominate in the polls, extreme Democrats will stop at nothing in attempt to prevent President Donald Trump from returning to the White House, and the Democrats are shredding the Constitution in the process. Joe Biden claims that democracy is on the ballot, yet the American people know that it is Joe Biden and Democrats who are openly attacking democracy. I am honored to stand as an original co-sponsor on Congressman Geatz' resolution that President Donald Trump did not engage in insurrectional rebellion against the United States. That is a fact. Rogue far-left Democrat operatives are attempting to use this lie to illegally take President Trump off the ballot. This week, the Supreme Court will begin arguments in Trump v. Anderson to determine if liberal activist judges have the right to erase Donald Trump from the ballot, steal the election, and the American people's right to elect our leaders. For the sake of American democracy, I am proud to fight for President Trump and the tens of millions of American patriots who face political persecution. With that, I am honored to turn it over to Bill Posey, our colleague who is also a co-sponsor of this bill. Bill.
Thank you. And thank you, Congressman Geatz, for leading on this. The same people trying to keep Donald Trump off the ballot are the same ones who supported the fake dossier, the biggest fraud in political history, probably. Same ones who claimed Obamacare would let you keep your own doctor, keep your own insurance company, and it's going to cost you less. The same people. They're the same people that claim the border is secure. Now they claim Donald Trump is a danger to democracy and should not be on the ballot. Just three quick facts. The real threat to democracy is an administration that weaponizes government to target, intimidate, and silence political opponents. The real threat to democracy is the use of lawfare to destroy political adversaries and interfere in elections. The real threat to a democracy is denying American citizens the right to vote for the candidate of their choice. And this time I'd like to turn it over to a colleague from the great state of Texas, Congressman Babin.
Thank you, Mr. Posey. I want to thank Mr. Geatz for having this. Really appreciate it. I'm Brian Babin, 36th District of Texas. Here's the reality. If you still refuse to believe that the endless war on Donald J. Trump is fueled by anything other than pure hatred and personal vendettas, we're not ever going to change your mind. The facts obviously don't really matter to you. But the American people and those standing with me here today can see the truth. The radical left is attempting to destroy our electoral process, and folks, we cannot let them succeed for the benefit of our great republic. It is time to push back, to preserve the type of freedom that was won by blood and defended by patriots, to keep in place the liberties that set the United States apart from all nations on the face of this earth and have allowed our nation to become the envy of the world. We cannot bend the knee or turn a blind eye to this blatant attempt to discredit the will of the American people. It is crystal clear that Donald Trump did not incite an insurrection. To say otherwise and to block him from any ballot in any state is election interference, pure and simple, period. Let's not call this what it is, or let's do call this what it is, a desperate fourth quarter Hail Mary to remove a political opponent and rival from contention. It's a reckless precedent that sets and risks our entire democratic process, and it must be rejected. I yield back. I would like to introduce my good friend from Arizona, Representative Andy Biggs.
Thanks, Mr. Geatz. I appreciate you introducing this important piece of legislation to try to readjust the constitutional republic that we are. What we have seen is mass hysteria caused by you, the reckless leftist media. That's what we've seen. Let's consider this. What did Pulitzer Prize-winning reporter Matthew Rosenberg say? He said the left's overreaction, the left's reaction to it in some places was over the top. They were making it this organized thing that it wasn't. That's what Mr. Rosenberg said. What did the court say when you had an individual, a guy named Matthew Martin? He's tried. He just happened to be here, peacefully wandering around. But he was charged with entering a restricted building, disorderly conduct, violent entry, and parading in the Capitol building. Petty offenses. But what we found out is he was waved into the Capitol. And what did a Capitol police officer say? Well, the crowd was large. We waved him in. That was the testimony given by a police officer. That doesn't sound like an insurrection. Neither do these comments by President Trump. Stay peaceful. Please support our Capitol Police and law enforcement. They're truly on the side of our country. Stay peaceful. 30 minutes later, I'm asking for everyone at the U.S. Capitol to remain peaceful. No violence. Remember, we are the party of law and order. Respect the law and our great men and women in blue. Thank you. That doesn't sound like an insurrection. How about this? Exclusive. The FBI finds scant evidence that U.S. Capitol attack was coordinated. FBI investigators did find that some cells of protesters, including followers of two groups, Oath Keepers and Proud Boys, had aimed to break into the Capitol, but they found no evidence that the groups had any serious plans about what to do if they made it inside the Capitol. That doesn't sound like an insurrection. Further, the FBI found no evidence that President Trump or people directly around him were involved in organizing violence, according to law enforcement personnel. No charges filed for insurrection or treason. How about when Director Wray came in and testified before Judiciary? He said there were three groups on the Capitol that day. Largely, and by far the majority, were peaceful. Second group were people that, for whatever reason, they entered the Capitol, but they were peaceful, but they committed a trespass. And then you had a small group that was violent. We call that a riot. Well, but that's not how it happened. The Democrats, they insisted that it was an insurrection, but the exchange between Eric Swalwell trying to get this director to say that it was an insurrection at the hearing in June of 2021, where Director Wray said, well, Congressman, I understand why you describe it that way, but as FBI director, that term has legal meaning. It was not an insurrection, but the crazos on the left, supported by their accomplices in the media, continue to try to harass and have President Trump removed from ballots using this false narrative. And it is a false narrative. And that's why I'm here. I appreciate Representative Geatz and Representative Stefanik. And I will be supporting this bill. And I will just tell you one other thing. when I think of insurrection, well, I'm not even going to go there. I can just tell you this. I wish you'd all take a look at your leftist colleagues in the Congress who've advocated violence over time. Then tell me what insurrection is.
Not one single person has been charged with insurrection. Not one single person has been convicted with insurrection. Not one. In every single court of our land, no one's been charged and convicted with insurrection, yet Democrats and dishonest people in the media every single day accuse President Trump of waging an insurrection and accuse many of us of waging an insurrection, and you're doing nothing but lying and selling the lies of the Democrats, all for campaigns and elections. Shame on every single person that has done that. Shame on you. You need to tell the truth. You have the freedom of press, one of the greatest rights in this entire world. And anyone that puts the word insurrectionist, calls President Trump an insurrectionist, and calls any of us an insurrectionist is a liar, and you do not deserve the power that you possess. Shame on you. Shame on you. Let me give you guys a little history lesson, okay? When President Trump was inaugurated, Antifa and leftist rioters nearly burned down Washington, D.C. Did you call it an insurrection? No. BLM raised millions of dollars on the Act Blue Democrat fundraising website and then proceeded to cause $2 billion in damages across American cities and communities all in 2020, every day. Not one day for 3 hours, every damn day. Did you call it an insurrection? They attacked police officers, federal courthouses, tore down statues, burned 93 police vehicles. Did you in the media call it an insurrection? No, you did not. You called it mostly peaceful. And you lied to the American people, and the American people don't trust you anymore because of that. And then the American people who pay for elections with their tax dollars actually own the elections and have the right to care about their elections, election integrity, and the results of their elections. When they came to Washington and protested, all of you called it an insurrection. And then when Joe Biden was inaugurated and this entire Capitol complex was surrounded with 30,000 National Guard troops, none of you stood there and called that an insurrection. Oh, no. You all stayed silent. And while Matthew Graves, the U.S. Attorney at the Department of Justice, is arresting people every single day, throwing them in jail, held them for 22 hours in solitary confinement, unconvicted, all of you stay silent. No one attacks them for that. Apparently, you think it's deserved. Shame on you. And I want you to know the American people are paying attention. They're not stupid just because you tell them in your articles and in your headlines and on your networks that Trump is an insurrectionist or any of us are insurrectionists. No. As a matter of fact, you're hurting your own careers and you're hurting your industry for lying to them. So I would like to thank you, Matt, very much. And I would like to thank Elise Stefanik for introducing this resolution. And I cannot believe we even have to do this because Democrats and liars in the media accuse President Trump of being an insurrectionist when in fact he is not. He said, go in peace. Go in peace. God bless President Trump. God bless him for saying we should care about our elections. And I want you to know, because of that, Americans do care about our elections. And we have every single right to care. Thank you very much. I urge my colleagues to vote for this resolution. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to Ronnie Jackson from Texas.